Alright, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about custom types and receiver functions in Go. So a custom type is somewhat similar to like a type def in C. So how do we declare a custom type? I have the two examples here. So in the first picture up here, we have a slice of strings or string slice, and we call it app, and it has these three strings in it, and we can print the strings inside this slice, this for loop here. And then in the second picture, I created a custom type called app, and app represents, so this type app is pretty much a string slice. So here I declared a variable called myApps, and I said that it's a app type variable, and then I assigned it the strings similar to up here. So this app type that I created here that represents a slice of strings acts just like a slice of strings. The only difference is that this type is called app instead of this here. So, and then you can print it just as you would print a string of slices. So this app type is pretty much a slice of strings, or this custom app type that I created here pretty much. So what's the point? Because we might as well just use a slice of strings as in the first example. So this leads us to receiver functions. And for receiver functions, you can, in the object-oriented programming perspective, you can kind of think of it as a class method. So in this first picture here, I have my custom type that I created called app, and it's a slice of strings. So, and then I created the myApps variable, and it's an app type variable, and I put these three strings inside that slice of strings. But if you notice here, this function right here, it looks different than the function definitions that we've written before, because we usually have func and then the function name, the parameters in here, and then the return type here, and then whatever else in here. But now this here, this is a receiver function, meaning that a app type variable would be used to call this function. So since myApps is an app type variable, I can use the dot operator and do myapps.print. And then this A here would be representing myapps here. So when I call this print function, myapps is calling this print function. So so this A here is equal to myapps here. So then it would print whatever the strings are inside myapps. So now that's a receiver function. Now over here, if you notice, I create another variable called strings, and it's a splice of strings with these strings here. And now if you notice, if I call strings.print, this gives an error, as you see down here, because this receiver function is only used by app type variables. And this strings variable here is not an app type variable, it's a splice of strings, or it's a string splice variable, not our custom app type defined up here. So that's what we use custom types, and that's what a receiver function is. And so now let's do some coding, creating a custom type and using a receiver function. So if you still have your deck.go file from the previous video, we're going to use that and add some updates to that file. If you don't have the file or lost it or whatever, that's fine. I'll have a link in the description to my GitHub where you can get that source file. So I'm going to go ahead and open Visual Studio Code here, and then open up that deck.go file from the last video. Alright, so this should be what you have. Okay, so now up here, it's going to be global. I'm going to create our custom type here. So I'm going to write type, and then I'm going to call it deck. And our custom type deck is going to be a string splice, just like in the example in the PowerPoint. And then I'm going to change actually this new deck function right here. Instead of returning a string splice here, I'm actually going to return a deck type, which is pretty much a string splice. So I'm going to do that. And then down here, I'm going to create our receiver function for printing our deck. So we write func, and then we write the type that can, the custom type that can use this function. So deck, it's going to be a deck type variable that's going to be using this function. So I'm going to call it print. And then inside the body here, I'm just going to copy and paste this code up here. Oh, whoops. All right, there we go. Let me make this a little bit nicer looking here. Okay. I gotta change this to deck. It's the range of. Oh no, it'd be D actually. It's this variable here. Okay. So now, now here, this cards variable I created, I'm assigning it the returned value from this new deck function call, and this new deck function call returns a deck type. So that means our cards variable is also going to be a deck type. And to show you that it is, we can use the type of method in the reflect package. So fmd.println reflect dot type of cards. This method just returns the variable type of whatever you pass in as the argument. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to run that in the terminal. Make sure I'm in the right directory. Go run deck.go. And as you can see, we get this printed out, and you can see that it shows you that it's a deck type. So cards is a deck type variable because we assigned it whatever was returned from this function call, and this function call returns a deck type variable. Fine here. So that means our cards variable here is able to use this print function here. So I'm going to do cards dot print using the dot operator, save that, run it again, and as you can see, we get the printout, the same printout as in the last video. So that's custom type declaration in Go and receiver functions. In the next video, we are going to talk about, let's see, let me see what we're doing. Oh, we're going to create a save to deck function. So we're going to learn how to save our deck pretty much to a file on our hard drive. So that will be the next video. So this one was pretty quick, pretty fast. Everything will be on my GitHub. Link will be in the description. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.